Good to see you. Do you think it was wrong for President Biden to use that term, illegal?
No, the person was here illegally, and we're talking about a murderer now. I mean, the fact that the left is going so far out of their way to say that someone who was in this country illegally, who murdered an American citizen, should now somehow receive some type of respect or different terminology is just ridiculous. And if Joe Biden's going to apologize for anything, it should be he should apologize for giving that murderer parole. The only reason that individual was in this country was his administration released him into the country, as you stated, with parole, and because cities like New York, unfortunately my city, has decided to tie the hands of the NYPD. So when that individual was arrested, he wasn't detained and then given to ICE to be deported. Instead, he was released on the street, went to Georgia, and then sadly, we know what happened after that.
Yeah, let's look at the timeline exactly of what happened with Ibarra. He came in illegally with his brother back in 2022. It was September 8th, 2022, when he enters illegally, we're told, in El Paso, Texas. Then the next day, he's released into the U.S. on parole. On October 22nd, he's issued a check-in date with ICE for a hearing check-in date of October 2024. Then in August 31st of last year, he's cited for endangering a child riding a moped in Queens, New York, in New York City. His son, apparently, without a helmet. Then goes down to Georgia and is arrested in February, accused of Laken's murder. He would be following the law, some in the White House would say. He would say that is the law. The law is that he was released. What would you say to that? That they were just following procedure and what the law lays out?
Well, the thing is that he should have been detained and deported. He should not have been released. It is the fault of this administration that chose to change the parole, right? And that is what our issue is with President Biden. He has the authority, okay, under sections 1182 and 1225 of Title 8 of our Immigration and Nationality Act. He can right now change parole, change asylum. He can restore remain in Mexico. He can end, catch, and release. He can shut down the border completely. He chooses not to do that. Not only does he not choose to secure the border, he has used that authority to dismantle our border and allow dangerous individuals into our country. This is not the first individual he's given to parole that has come into our country and committed a crime. In New York, we've seen well over 1,200 arrests, including the assault of 2 of our own police officers. People who are being arrested multiple times, released back onto the streets because of New York City's ridiculous sanctuary policy. And then to boot, they're going to a luxury hotel room paid for by we the people because Eric Adam insists that somehow they're entitled to housing and legal services and laundry service and education and healthcare at taxpayer expense. So this is the far left policy at the federal, state, and city level coming to a head here. It is dangerous. We are seeing Americans dying as a result, and that's exactly what I told the president when he walked into the chamber the other day, that he needs to use the same authority he used to dismantle the border to put it back together.
Repeat that again. You know, we see members of Congress in the aisles. You got to get a seat early in order to remember. People used to do that all the time. You talked to the president about this when he came down the aisle. What did you tell him? And can you tell us what he said? Did he hear you?
I told him that he needs to secure the border, that Americans are dying. He said that he needs an authority. I said, that's not true. I said, you have the current authority. In fact, you've used that authority to dismantle the border, and you should use that very same authority to reinstate. I really believe that the president doesn't know what's going on, that he's got people around him that are advising him, that are forcing him to say certain things and do certain things and sign certain things, and that he really mental to our national security and public safety.
So he said, we're looking at video from last Thursday when he was on the floor for like 45 minutes after he spoke, talking to people. He said he needs the authority. You say, of course, he has that executive authority to reinstate the Trump policies right now.
That's right. That's what President Trump used, those very same authorities. Again, he could end catch and release. He could reinstate remain in Mexico. He could make changes to parole and asylum, and he could shut down the border today if he wants to do so. The only reason we passed H.R. 2 in the House is to require him to do those things because he will not use the discretion he currently has.
And as you speak, Congresswoman, we're seeing appears to be migrants in the Rio Grande down in Eagle Pass coming up against that fence in the park there, and we see some either National Guard or Texas state officials standing by it, looking at each other live on the Fox News channel, an indication of exactly what is going on right now on our border. Congressman Nicole Malliotakis of New York City. Congressman, thank you.
Thank you.